She had a couple offers for record deals, but they had stipulations.
They would not let her have control over what she was going to do and be.
I know of one particular offer that she had. They asked her to lose 15 pounds. It was unreal for them to ask her to do that.
You know, she will not compromise, she will not sell out, but you see, we call that normal in our household.
Things started going downhill for Kelly in LA.
It seemed like every time she turned around, something bad was happening. Her car would get towed. Jerry, the writer she was working with, got really, really sick.
When Jerry got sick, it was really hard on Kelly because he was the backer of the whole project. He was the one that paid for the studio time and all of that.
He was just too ill, you know, to work with her anymore. So then when the fire came at the, you know, at the apartment, that pretty much did Kelly in.
Dozens of West Hollywood residents are homeless tonight after a fire ravaged their apartment complex.
Kelly called me up one night and she was just hysterical. And I said, "What is wrong?"
Her apartment burned down, and which is something that would only happen to Kelly.
They had just moved into a different apartment, just gotten their things in there, went to the store, came back, and the firemen were all around the building.
We were in shock.
Kelly was just, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do.
We just moved here, moved all of our stuff in the apartment. Everything, our bed, everything that, except for what we look like.
It was a sign from God to come home.
At the time, it was pretty traumatic for her. Kelly was just, you know, she was just devastated. One more thing keeping her from her goal.
Kelly handles rejection of any type in the same way. It floors her, hurts. And then she goes in her room and prays. And then emerges brand new.
She just got in the car and drove on home. And then she just, you know, Kelly showed up on my doorstep. I'm home.
When she came back from LA, she was kind of down on herself, and we all told her that it wasn't the end for her. We knew that something else would come along, and sure enough it did. My mom actually approached me and told me that American Idol was having tryouts.
Jessica printed out the paperwork for American Idol, filled everything in, and then said, "Kelly, I need you to sign this."
Kelly was game, you know. She says, "Well, sure, let's try it."
The idea of the show was to open it up to everyone within a certain age group. Our job as judges was to get it down from 10,000 to 30. Then it was up to the audience at home to select who they liked and who they didn't like each week.
The first audition was in Dallas.
The night before, she stayed up all night, and at 4 in the morning, she comes throwing rocks at my windows to get me out of bed just to make sure she looked okay.
When Kelly was in Dallas, she called me and she was telling me, "Mom, there are just thousands of people here." And I said, "Well, that's okay. You know, all you can do is try your best. Hopefully they'll like what they hear."
Oh my God, this girl can sing her butt off.
They told her that she would be flown out to Pasadena soon for another round of auditions.
There was a lot of talented people there, so it was, you know, it was kind of iffy for her.
First impressions were that she was good, but I did come away from the auditions remembering her.
She had been the win-all person in high school. She gets out here and she's just a pebble on the beach. That's where faith comes in.
Kelly's faith is part of her drive. She values her relationship with God more than a lot of things in her life.
And I said, "Well, you just go out there and you just sing your heart out, and you just remember you're singing this for Mommy and Daddy's retirement."
She made it to the final 30 from 120.
There was a lot of scrutiny and there was a lot of pressure, not knowing if you were going to be the next to leave.
Everything's being thrown at you and you just have to learn how to adapt to it.
Kelly told me, she says, "Mom, if I can get through Simon, I can get through anybody."
You're a boring performer. That was terrible. Abysmal. You are the worst singer in America.
What I try and do is say what I would actually say if the cameras weren't there. And the reality is, in most auditions, most people can't sing. So I tell them that.
Kelly was definitely a Paula fan.
My whole job was to be supportive and fight for the contestants. I'm a performer, and I know what it's like.